What's an industry secret in the field you work in? Auto insurance agent. Please, for the love of God, don't tell auto insurance agents more than you have to. They ask you a question. Just say yes or no and answer the question as straight as you can. If you go on and on about your life story, you will probably end up saying something you don't have to, and making your rate higher, or getting yourself declined. We want to get you that policy as cheap as possible. Only tell us what we need to know, and don't say anything else. As an auto insurance claims adjuster, I second this. And buy coverage that protects you. You get what you pay for. 10k property damage liability doesn't cover crap anymore. In Microsoft Office, Word specifically, you can upload recorded interviews, and it will transcribe it, and ever have speaker 1 and speaker 2, 3, and 4. Basically, eliminating a huge annoying part of the job. The fruits and veggies you buy at the grocery store, wash them. There are people that don't wash fruit and vegetables from the store before eating them. Also, I highly recommend not putting something you intend to eat directly on the conveyor belt at the register. That thing is not necessarily sanitary. People put money and sneeze on it all the time. I work in a grocery store and never put food directly on the belt. Where else is there to put it? This doesn't make any sense. Knowing how to research the answer to a question is at least as, or even more useful than knowing the answer to begin with. I made a living in it for a decade with that mindset. I don't know any programming languages, but I know how to translate. It's worked so far. I'm the receptionist for an IT company. Being able to translate the whole system has gone kerflooey to steps like, are there any error messages? And what were you doing when this happened? Is a pretty needed skill. Before that I worked phones at a hardware store. It's surprisingly similar advice. Take pictures, especially any codes on hardware pieces. I'm a dentist. Here's a lowdown on toothpaste. As long as it has fluoride they are all basically the same. When I was in dental school the Colgate lady came by and said that everything that says Colgate Total on it is all exactly the same. The only difference is the packaging. So whether it says whitening, or gum protection, or whatever else it is all exactly the same. The exception is sensitivity. Toothpaste typically does have an extra active ingredient, No3, which helps with sensitivity. Don't ever feel obligated to buy the expensive toothpaste because you think it will be better for your teeth. Just buy whatever you like best. But the toothpaste I buy at the dentist, Clinpro, is different, correct? Yes, Clinpro, a prescription toothpaste, has a higher percentage of fluoride which makes it better for people who tend to get cavities. Library worker here. The majority of donations we receive do not end up in circulation on our shelves. No matter how much you demand we put them there once they are donated. The reason why this is because we only add items to the collection that we think will circulate, be checked out. Most libraries get funding based off of statistics. We don't want to waste shelf space on items that people aren't checking out, as it won't improve our stats. So, unless the donated items are brand new, or by popular authors, we will not add them to the collection. We will also weed unpopular items from our collection with extreme prejudice for this reason, much to our patrons' horror. These books usually end up being sold at book sales to help generate funding for other library programs. Dude, I love the local library's annual book sale. They do it 4th of July weekend as this is a touristy area, and it's like a 50 cents for paperbacks and $1 for hardcover. Sad as I am that they aren't doing it this year, I'm pretty excited because that means it'll be huge next year. This kind of wistfulness for a book sale is the most wholesome thing I've read today. A lot of librarians will waive your fines if you have an excuse and you don't ask too frequently, even large fines. Also, librarians don't care about your fines and aren't judging you. Please come back. We personally have more fines than you. Librarians are always overdue with their books. I don't know if you're from US, but I'm new to US. Everything, rent, banks, car rentals, universities etc seems to want to overcharge and wrench the last cent out of you for minor forgivable reasons. Except for libraries. I was late on a book. A few days. Wasn't charged. I love the libraries and the library system. They also try their best to get you a book from other locations, and librarians are generally kind and polite. Library cards are free. You enter a library and nobody judges you etc for anything. They also recommend not to get our research published with predatory journals etc. You are awesome. The world is in debt of your services. Seriously, support your local library. They do so much good on a budget of peanuts. It's insane. Those book transfers between libraries are not cheap. Fuel costs money. You'd be surprised how willingly someone will do their job and even go above and beyond if you just compliment them for their professionalism, politeness and how they are helping them. As a cashier, I'm not even ashamed to admit that I will do more for you if you tell me I'm being helpful. I've had so many free upgrades, like a large coffee when I asked for a medium, or extra food on the plate from just being super polite and friendly. I go really overboard if the customer in front was being rude as well. It's a win-win. I also don't understand the mentality of talking down to someone who's serving me. I mean, without them, I wouldn't get served. Used to screen resumes for small companies. Job requirements are more of a wish list situation. Never let some unchecked boxes deter you from applying. You have no idea what the applicant pool is like. The biggest boon, especially at small companies, is someone who legitimately cares. Literally got a job last week that I was unqualified for. I said, hell to it, I'm running out of places to apply. Let's give it a shot. Couple days later they replied, set up an interview, and I somehow have a job tomorrow morning during a pandemic. Just go for it, can't hurt you. If you order a pizza, but like to choose your own toppings, it's often cheaper to choose an existing pizza like a meat supreme or something with loads of toppings, then swap out all the toppings for ones you want, than to go for the create your own option in the menu. There's a certain pizza chain website that I discovered will let you apply coupons on pizzas that aren't covered by the coupon. If you mess with it a bit, you can stack coupons, sub out ingredients, and get your order down to about 50-60% of the original price, even if you don't have coupons that cover what you've actually ordered. Then pay online and pick up in person. I doubt a human ever actually checks your total in the process. There was a McDonald's hack for this on a touchscreen menu. Basically, by deconstructing the sandwiches you ended up with an extra 10 cents off. Burger is like 1.50, but discounts were 1.60, so if you order that 15 times, people could get a full one free of charge. A huge portion of online reviews, ratings, social media presence, etc. that you see for any given company are fake, paid for, or done by multiple accounts controlled by us. This includes a company's Glassdoor page, fake reviews about how great it is to work there, so that the million negative reviews don't crush their page. I'm not saying it's every company out there, but it's been a lot of the ones I've worked for. Can confirm on Glassdoor had a company-wide initiative from the higher-ups to post positive reviews of our workplace because it was getting hammered by negative reviews. For a while you could tell the fake positive ones BC looking at the dates they were posted. Suddenly a dozen positive reviews on the same date. Yep, all planted. It's also a dead giveaway when the pros are unbelievably positive to the point of absurdity, and the cons are either none, or my personally most hated. This job is not for everyone. You won't do well if you aren't comfortable in a fast-paced, demanding environment or some variation thereof. It's a lame attempt to brush the preceding negative reviews under the rug by saying those workers were just lazy or incompetent without actually addressing their issues, and also tells me the place is a hellish nightmare to work for. Former aircraft fueler. Don't check your pets in kennels, especially in summer or winter. They are submitted to some very harsh environments, left on belt loaders in the sweltering heat right next to a running Apu that's loud enough to deafen human ears, let alone a dog's. It's terrible. I always feel so sorry for them. American Airlines will destroy your luggage. They get overloaded on carts, fall off on the way to the plane, and are left there to get run over by tankers and yes, fuelers, and rained on, then dragged to the edge of the ramp to sit all night while you arrive at your destination and wonder where the hell your bags are. If your departure is delayed, 90% of the time it's us, the fueler. Look out the window to the right side if it's a small plane, left side if it's a really big plane. If there's a truck sitting under the wing, we're the reason you're late. Sorry. Some years ago, on a flight from San Diego to Chicago. Passing the time before disembarking, watching luggage being unloaded from the hold, suitcases are being thrown around. Then a cat carrier comes down the ramp. Every single baggage handler gathers round to meet the cat, which is carried off carefully. After reading the other comments above you, I got so scared as I was reading yours. I breathed a sigh of relief at the end. Amusement park ride operator here. If your kid is crying and you want us to stop the ride, even if we want to, it's not gonna stop immediately. The carousel will spin a few more circles or the ship will swing a few more times before stopping. The only exceptions is the emergency stop, which will absolutely mess up the ride for a while if we press it. Hence we only use it in actual life-threatening situations. The best thing you can do is try to get your kid to calm down as the ride comes to a stop, and no, yelling "stop the ride" at us does not make it stop any faster. True, I believe it is called physics. Audio engineer here. A few seemingly obvious things to point out. 9/10 times with a studio you get what you pay for. You have to pay 4 years of experience, acclaimed expertise, plus hundreds of thousands of dollars in equipment and software tools, not to mention the hundreds of thousands of dollars that went into the acoustic engineering of the physical recording space alone. People walk into great studios balk at $1,000 plus a song, but don't realize they're getting access to close to $1 million in tools, plus an engineer who's going to make them sound better than life. On the flip side of that coin, beware of eye candy. Don't be fooled by big mixing consoles. Sometimes they are not even used for your music. Hell, sometimes they don't even function. I've seen studios where the sole purpose of a large board is to dupe unsuspecting musicians into parting with their money. In larger studios, bands with smaller budgets are often stuck with an intern who may not even be getting paid. If your music is crap, no amount of production is going to make it a hit. As a small studio owner, I only share work that I think will bring me more business. Wondering why I haven't shared your music? It's because it's garbage. Billie Eilish recorded on budget equipment at home with her brother. Those recordings were then worked on by some of the best engineers in the world to make it sound like it wasn't. Be wary of a record label. They may offer to front the costs of your recording and touring, but you have no creative control over your sound, where you record, your tour schedule, and usually the label will own your music. Oh, and you have to pay all of that money back to the label. Be cautious of studios that claim so and so recorded here. There's a studio in Iowa that claims Slipknot recorded here. And while it's true, Slipknot did record in that building, it was a different owner, different engineers, and some different equipment. You're not going to sound like Slipknot by recording there. Sorry,